Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word. And I am here to talk to you today. We're going to start Matthew 24 today. So we're working our way through the book of Matthew. As we work our way through the book of Matthew, hopefully I'm showing you guys, giving you insight into the Bible here. But there's tools that you can use to study the Bible yourself. And one of those tools today that I'm going to be using it's called a Bible dictionary, and it's a pictorial Bible dictionary. This one is. So it has little black and white pictures with some of this stuff. You will need some of these tools, like this one is just a simple Bible dictionary, to understand fully what is being talked about sometimes. Okay, you're going to see me use this tool today, and so hopefully you could get a Bible dictionary. It doesn't have to be a big one like that. It can be a simple one, and there's some that have the Bible dictionary and a concordance in it. Okay, a concordance is a book that for the Bible that, let's say you're stuck on a verse and you're like, I remember that verse, but I don't remember where it's found. Okay, and you're thinking like you're not thinking John 3:16. You're thinking, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. Okay, and you're thinking, oh, where's that verse found? Well, you can take one of those words, okay? You don't have to do the, because it'll list out every time the is used in the whole Bible, okay? Especially the big Strong's concordance. But let's say begotten Son, okay, or begotten. You start looking up that word, and it's going to list out every time that word is used in the Bible, and then you can go down through it. And it's just that sentence there. You can go down through it and go, oh, there it is. And you go, and it shows it's John 3:16 is where that's found. Okay, let's get into what we're talking about here today. Okay, so this is taken from Matthew 24 verses 1 and 2. Okay, and this is called Jesus prophesied what was thought to be impossible. Okay, it says this: Jesus left the temple and was walking away when His disciples came up to Him to call His attention to its buildings. Do you see all these things? Do you see all these things? He asked. Truly I tell you, not one stone here will be left on another. Every one will be thrown down. Okay? So it's only 2 verses here, but it has a lot here. Okay? So the disciples were walking along, and they were, at that time, the temple was amazing. The temple was the building, okay? And it was made, it had like white marble on it, so it had a lot of gold on it too, okay? So it reflected the light. So it was like blinding, where when you looked at this certain way, you're like, oh, wonder what that is. That is the temple, okay? So you're wondering, like, what's the big deal about the temple, okay? That's where we get our Bible dictionary, okay? The temple was made 3 different times and then demolished 3 different times, okay? First of all, Solomon built the first temple, and then that was demolished. And then later, it was called Zerubbabel's temple, which was when people came back from exile, they built this temple. And the temple was not as well done as Solomon's temple was. In fact, some of the people that remember Solomon's temple, when they looked at the temple, they wept because it just wasn't the same. Okay, so now in the time period of Jesus, Herod, who is the king, you might say, at that time, in that time period, was not a Jewish man, but he wanted to please the people. And you remember, if we talked about Herod in the past, he was a people pleaser, and he was doing things to please the people. Well, he made a deal with the Jews, said, oh, I'll rebuild your temple. And history will show he was quite the architect. He built, his palace, he built palace at Masada, all kinds of things like that. So he was known for his building. That was what you read like National Geographic or something about Herod, it will tell you he was known for his architecture, okay, and what he built. So he made the deal with the Jewish people to build this temple, okay. He started building it and he made the deal with them in 18 BC. Okay, 18 BC. Keep in mind, BC, it goes downward to the point where it's 0 BC and then 0 AD, and then it goes back up. Okay, 18 BC. Let me read this paragraph here from the Bible dictionary here. Okay, so Herod began his work in the 18th year BC. And the Jews were afraid that the work would interrupt the temple service, but Herod went to great lengths to prevent this, and rebuilding of the old structures piecemeal, never stopping the ritual observances until an entirely new temple came into being. Since only priests could enter the temple of the inner court, 1,000 of them were masons and carpenters for the inner area. The house itself was finished in a year and a half. 8 years were spent on the surrounding buildings and the courts, which were not finally completed until AD 64. Remember, they started in BC 18. Now they're finishing in AD 64. Okay, so you don't subtract 64, 18 from 64. You add 18 to 64. That's how long it took them to build a temple. Okay, so that's the thing. It took them that long to build this temple. It was that much work involved with it to build this whole thing. So when that's why it's so important here that the disciples, they're going, wow, look at that structure, because it's taken them so long to build that temple, and it wasn't just because they took 6 days off and only worked one day. No, they were working on it consistently. But it was that glorious and that awesome of a building, okay? And it wasn't just a building, it was a whole complex, all right? So that's why the disciples are like, whoa, look at that. But Jesus is going to come back, okay? And if you remember what I read, okay, let me go back here to verse 2. Do you see all these things? He asked, truly I tell you, not one stone here will be left on another. Every stone will be thrown down. Jesus is saying that this big old temple is going to be destroyed, okay? Let me read now from the Bible dictionary, okay? Okay, so it was finished in AD 64. The Jews said to Jesus that the temple had been 46 years in the building. Oh, wait, yeah, that's what they had told Jesus, and that was in John 2:20. More than 30 years were to pass before it was really finished, then only to be destroyed. So when Jesus was alive, they were going, this thing has been being built for 46 years. Then it was another 30 years after Jesus' death until it was actually finished, okay? So it was finished in 64 AD, all right? That's when it was finished. Now, what happens is this. In AD 70, there was an uprising there against the Romans with the Jewish people, okay? And Titus had come in. Titus was a Roman, came in, and he was assigned to bring down this uprising, okay? So they went in, and there was so much bloodshed with this war, you might say, going on here. And so the Roman soldiers were mad because they had many of their friends and stuff dying, okay? And the Jewish people were upset too. The last stand is a lot of Jewish people, they were being defeated. They ran into the temple, okay? And Titus goes, don't destroy the temple. Don't do anything to the temple, okay? What ended up happening, though, was some of the soldiers sent stray arrows and flaming arrows into that temple, and that dry wood and everything took off burning and burnt all those people inside. I mean, basically cremated them, okay? Now, the temple was destroyed with that fire, okay? But notice Jesus said, not one stone will be left on another, okay? You'd have stones still there, left on another if a fire happens, okay? But get this, when that temple was destroyed like that, the spoils of the war kind of paid for the war. So you did everything to help pay for the war. The temple was made from gold. Okay, it had a lot of gold in it. Now, when that fire hit that temple, a lot of that gold melted, and it melted between all those stones. Okay, so what happened was the Roman army took those stones one by one, dismantled them to get that gold off. All right, and that's what Jesus is talking about. He says, not one stone will be left on another. And so those Roman soldiers dismantled that thing and took every stone apart from that thing. So there was nothing left to get that gold, to pay, for soldiers and everything else. That was their booty, you might say. And so what you can get from this is Jesus prophesied something that when the disciples looked at it and everyone else looked at it, everyone would have thought, this is impossible. There's no way that the temple can be destroyed, much less destroyed so much that every stone would be taken down, because it took that long to build. Okay, from 18 BC to 64 AD, 65 AD. That's how long it took to build the thing. And then 5 years it's finished, and 5 years later, the temple is completely destroyed. Only 5 years. It took them that long to build, and then it's destroyed. And Jesus said it will be destroyed, and there won't be one stone left upon another. That's the amazing thing. He prophesied the impossible, and it came true. Okay. How much more in our lives, if Jesus has told us something and we think, oh, that's impossible, it's going to come true. Okay, he says, I'm going to come, I'm going to take you to you're going to be with me in paradise, you're going to be with me in heaven. And we think, oh, that's impossible. No, it's not impossible. Jesus prophesied it. It will come true. You can count on that. All right, thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word. Now look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue talking our way through the book of Matthew. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then. Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I'm just a regular dude